maxim that I learned from one of the top diplomats from Japan. He taught me that if the chairperson could stop Indian representatives speaking, and he can make Japanese representatives speak, he is the best MC in the international conference. So today we are Indian representative, the Japanese representative. Maybe she's going to try to dominate my story. As a person who needs to be more global as myself, I try to speak a lot, as much as possible. Anyway. Okay, so Ashima, could you start your presentation?
Okay, I promise not to take too much time. Okay, so today we want to talk about cultivating global citizenship through a language arts curriculum. And we're going to talk about our school, Soka High School, and an initiative that we started at our school. And we wanted to share our hypothesis. I'm going to start with a background story. I used to teach third year last year, and I would correct their writing. And even though I taught academic writing, I would go to Mr. Ishino like really frustrated, like, what happened? Why are we getting such bad samples? Because the students really understand, and when we talk to them, they're amazing, but in writing, it just doesn't translate. And so, we went back, and this is a retrospective case study, because we went back to see where are we lacking, and our hypothesis is that the answer lies in a language arts curriculum. Just to give you a background, Soka Senior High School is in Tokyo, in Kodaira. It was founded by Dr. Daisaku Ikeda, who is a Buddhist philosopher, and we actually celebrated our 50th anniversary last year, which is a huge milestone. But the school is based on the founding principles of dignity of life, and we want to raise self-reliant individuals who can contribute to society. Also, today we've already talked a lot about the global education movement, but just to give you an overview of how we view, to contextualize our story, we think that global education movement, actually not we, Ty and Kenneth, this is research, think that global education movement is it's a social movement for change, and it includes introducing the global perspective in all curriculum areas, including English as a second language. The school is the optimal unit for change, and so we are going to share that perspective of how we brought the global perspective to the school level. Just to give you a background of globalization and global communication, well, as described by David Block and Deborah Cameron, globalization is the invocation of worldwide social relationships, and then language is usually the way that people connect with each other, which means that as our world gets more and more global, not only do we need a shared channel, but we also need shared linguistic code, which is something that we decided to focus on. Just to give you an overview of the Japanese high school level education system, there's a very high motivation level amongst high school students, but it's shocking that the TOEFL scores never collaborate. So, most high school teachers are really racking their brains, what happened? And one of the things that we think we could attribute this to is that Japanese is a high context culture, whereas English is low context culture. So I want to give you an example. For example, can you honestly share your opinion with me? Have you ever had this experience as foreigners in Japan when you have asked your Japanese friend a question, like, oh, what did you think of the conference? And your Japanese friend has said, has that happened to you? Right? It's a mystery, and it's something I love about Japan, because you'll never get a clear answer. And this is because it's a high context culture. To explain high context culture, it's where relationships are very intimate, and there is a social hierarchy. And, inner feelings are strongly controlled, which I think we've all noticed. There are simple messages, very short communication, but deep meaning, right? To give you an example, this is our interaction at work. あ、はい、それ。
おはようございます。あ、OK。Ashima, yeah, let me do that.
Now to translate what just happened, I said good morning. He said good morning. He said go do that, and I said yes. There is no subject here. There is no detail of what I'm supposed to do, what is the goal, what is the outcome. But we are supposed to understand each other, and the responsibility of understanding lies on not on him, but on me as a listener. This is high context culture, and this tends to dominate Japanese language in itself. Whereas, you know, a very good example of low context culture is probably America, where things are spelled out. Of course, you know, high context and low context is on a continuum. Add that, but low context communication is individualized, alienated, not so personal, and follows a linear rhetoric, whereas Japanese follows a circular rhetoric, which is why Japanese students find it extremely difficult to express themselves effectively. And this is also called Ishino, which is tacit understanding, like people intuitively understand each other's emotions. So now that we recognize that this is probably one of the reasons why students are not able to express themselves effectively, we want to present the challenge that lies in front of us. Now, a lot of people here have talked about the need of you know, the Japanese marketplace, where we need global leaders, we need leadership on the international stage, and that Japan is going to play a very important role in this global economy. So how do we bridge this gap? So Japanese government had a lot of pressure to bridge this gap, and MEX introduced the Super Global University and the Super Global High School program. And I'm happy to say that Soka High School is a Super Global High School as of 2016. And then Super Global High School program aims to foster global leaders who can contribute on the international stage through their high school education, and are able to communicate about social issues and have communication skills and problem-solving skills. So this is, in the year 2014, MEX named 56 schools around Japan as super global. 2015 also had 56 schools, but 2016 had only 11 schools, and that's when we were chosen as Super Global High School. And at that point, we had to design a profile for what is our ideal global leader. And we proposed a global citizenship project, which is their final project based on sustainable development goals. And students had to present their research through their 3 years in high school. So moving on.
So to apply to the SGH project, we have to define what kind of ideal global citizen we design or we want to create. So in our high school, through many teachers' discussions, we defined that a leader competent in contributing to solution to global issues based on the strong belief in dignity of life. So we said it's our kind of our ideal global leaders in our school. So to create this leader in the future, we said 4 characteristics or 4 competency needed to foster in our high school. The first one is a tolerance of a variety, a perspective which is appreciate and value the culture and the social differences. And secondly, a wide range of knowledge and comprehension global issues and taking personal responsibility. And thirdly, attitude to take action to solve the problem with a sense of cooperation. And the fourth, constructive dialogue based on the logical and the critical thinking. So as you know, Japanese students are quite weak at the 4th position. We need to solve this problem. So today we'd like to, one of the solutions, either to solve or promote the sense of constructive dialogue. So we decided to install the language as a curriculum of our Super Global High School project. So this is the target. So building a stronger foundation of language arts in their language arts in the Japanese in order to improve the 4 skills acquisition of English. So we decided to install the language art to make the first language skills and English ability better. So about the language, what is language arts? According to the summary of Japanese Language Institute, it is a kind of language education system based on the rhetoric originated from the Greek, ancient Greek, or 2,500 years ago. And this is propagated throughout Europe and North South America and Asia, including India, Pakistan, and Malaysia, and so on. And the Middle Eastern and African country has already introduced this kind of language education. So in other words, only East Asian country hadn't been installed this system. And indeed, many international schools have already introduced the system, and we can say this is as a kind of global standard of language education. So as I said, because East Asian country, including Japan, hadn't been installed this language background, so we haven't got any sense of paragraph, and we have no sense of topic sentence and completing sentence in our language learning, language education. So our target is to foster this, start this program. We firstly try to send the teachers, Japanese language teachers, to train the to train their language arts skill, to send them to the language art, Tsukuba Language Art Institute, and train for 1 year or something like that. And then we launched a curriculum named the Language Arts 1 and 2 about 2 years ago. Now this is our third year actually from this April. And then we try to create an original curriculum to combine language arts both in Japanese and English. This is a kind of unique approach that we have. So what we try to do is to circulate from Japanese and English to the language arts education. For example, if you ask a question in Japanese dialogue for like this, so if I make a question, あなたはタイプが好きですか? So if we translate it, do you like PE? It means like. It doesn't have any sense of subject, there's no reason, and so on. It makes those who had a background in language arts make really confused. So what we try to do is go back to the basic from the Japanese, and we have a so-called mondo game to make a dialogue game and to make a basic knowledge of the dialogue conversation skill. And for example, if I ask あなたは体育が好きですか? So then student have to answer, はい、私は体育が好きです。なぜなら体を動かすことは楽しいからです。With the reasoning, if I translate, do you like PE? Yes, I like PE because it is fun to have an exercise and move our body. That's why I like PE. It's quite natural for you because you have a background knowledge of the language. But for us Japanese, this is totally foreign concept and foreign experience even in our native tongue. So it is really proud of us because our experience started about two years ago. But last year, Ministry of Education decided to transform the Japanese national curriculum. So as you know, that you might have heard about Kokugo, the national Japanese language, is based on more reading with emotion or interpretation of literature instead of language logicness. So from 2020, they Ministry of Education transformed the new curriculum named Lonely Kokugo, which is logical Japanese, which is obviously following what we have done in language arts. And we are proud of that we have been a kind of precursor of what we, the Japanese education, will experience in the coming 3 years.
Okay, so I'm going to quickly run through this because we have 1 minute more.
Actually, go ahead, you can look a little bit more.
Oh, okay. So this is the analysis that we did. If you're familiar with ACAN, which is the English Proficiency Test, we were really shocked because the first year scores for writing were much higher than third year scores for writing. And the reason is the first year students had language arts, whereas the third year students had no background in language arts. So it was a drastic difference. And then this is what we were receiving from third years, where if you see there is no topic sentence, no clear structure, no reasons. It's all over the place. But and that was third year writing. But first year, when they were given a proper structure, they were able to share their ideas with a clear topic sentence, supporting sentence, concluding sentence, which may seem very normal for those of us from foreign universities or foreign education because we have language arts. But for Japanese students, this was a huge step forward. Yeah, we have some more examples. And I'm going to end with why we wanted to discuss this topic, the possible implications of our study. First of all, we are trying to go backwards from university level education where all of you are placed, to trace the steps back and prepare students so that they're ready for your university level education. And as Mr. Ishino said, we are a precursor to the 2020 national curriculum. Also, debate is a highly valued skill in our school, and language arts helps develop critical thinking and logic and persuasive skills, which are very important skills for global leaders as well. And we want to equip students with the skills required to represent their Japanese identity on an international stage and not to lose that aspect of their personality. And also, because dialogue is such an important part of our curriculum, we want them to have constructive dialogue, to be able to create value through critical thinking and not just, a very superficial level of dialogue. Lastly, we propose that this is a curriculum that could be introduced in schools around Japan and possibly contribute to the scholarship on preparation for global higher studies. Thank you very much, and we would like to hear any questions you have.
So we do have a little time for questions. Please.
So thank you very much for your presentation. So I was wondering, actually, a couple of questions maybe. So what are the parents' expectations and the students' expectations of what you are aiming to achieve in your high school? And whether do you feel some kind of maybe societal pressure from the parent side of I don't know, concentrating more on just teaching English and that's it. So, and if so, how are you dealing with that? And also question number 2, I was wondering from what kind of background were your students mostly? Since this is a selected group of high schools, right? It is selected to this program.
Right.
So I was wondering, is this students from average Japanese families or more, let's say, different, more, well, you know what I mean? Yeah. I know this culture, so.
It's about the parents' expectation. The basic, thank you very much for the question and asking the question. And in terms of the parents' expectation, basically they are quite houses themselves. They come from the very ordinary level, and they're diverse actually in terms of the incomes or social stages. And we can apply to that all the public school everywhere we go. And I think, I think we can apply what we're going to do.
Speak about our English education.
Our English education. You mean other school, especially?
Yeah, you mean particularly with your school. So, basically, I just happened to see an article. I think it was, I don't know which Japanese newspaper. Basically, it was what are the main expectations of the parents? What do they want most their children to learn at school? And number 1 is always English language ability.
Right.
So number 1. And I was thinking, I mean, in Japan there's this social image of, speaking English equal being erai, and like being global equal speaking English. So I was wondering whether is there any reaction of you trying to foster to develop the students more holistically? Whether is that perceived to be important by the parents themselves and families, or is it just teach them English in their country?
I think actually there's something really special about this situation, and thank you for asking so we can share that. A lot of parents, and actually we have graduates sitting right here, you can confirm this information, but a lot of parents send their students to this school because of the founding principles of this school. And the founding principle of this school is dignity of human life. And their hope is that when their child goes to this school, not only does this child learn English as a way of getting ahead in life, but as a way to communicate with people from around the world so that they're able to contribute to society, not just Japan. And I think every student who studies these social issues in our school has a very strong commitment to actually go out and put all of the things that they learn in practice. So parents are actually sending their children to this school for this reason. And so I think they're very supportive of this program. And of course there are parents who want a high score.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.